huge explosion now, raining debris on all of us. We better get out of the way.
And there's, you can see, perhaps the second tower, the front tower, the top portion of which...
Page 153. At the count of 3, everyone should be on page 1.
On Tuesday, September 11, 2001, the collapse of the World Trade Center occurred after two commercial airliners hijacked by Al-Qaeda terrorists were deliberately flown into the Twin Towers, WTC-1 and WTC-2 of the World Trade Center complex, in New York City as part of the September 11 attacks. The North Tower, also known as WTC-1, was the first building to be hit when American Airlines Flight 11 crashed into the skyscraper at 8:46 a.m., causing it to collapse at 10:28 a.m. after burning for 1 hour and 41 minutes. At 9:03 a.m., the South Tower, also known as WTC-2, was struck by United Airlines Flight 175, collapsing at 9:58 a.m. that morning after 55 minutes of burning. Today in this video, we will discuss about the aircraft's impact and collapse of towers in detail. The structural engineers working on the World Trade Center considered the possibility that an aircraft could crash into the building. In July 1945, a B-25 bomber that was lost in the fog had crashed into the 79th floor of the Empire State Building. A year later, a C-45F Expediter crashed into the 40 Wall Street building. Once again, fog was believed to have been the contributing factor in the collision. Leslie Robertson, one of the chief engineers working on the design of the World Trade Center, stated that he considered the scenario of the impact of a Boeing 707, which might be lost in the fog and flying at relatively low speeds, while seeking to land at either JFK or Newark airports. In an interview with the BBC 2 months after the building collapses, Robertson claimed that, with the 707, the fuel load was not considered in the design. "I don't know how it could have been considered." In the interview, Robertson stated that the main difference between the design studies and the event that ultimately caused the towers to collapse was due to the velocity of the impact, which greatly increased the absorbed energy, and was never considered during the construction process. During their investigation into the collapse, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, obtained a 3-page white paper that stated the buildings would survive an aircraft impact of a Boeing 707 or flying at 600 miles per hour, 970 kilometers per hour. In 1993, John Skilling, lead structural engineer for the WTC, during an interview conducted after the 1993 World Trade Center bombing remarked, "Our analysis indicated the biggest problem would be the fact that all the fuel, from the airplane, would dump into the building. There would be a horrendous fire. A lot of people would be killed," he said. The building structure would still be there. In its report, NIST stated that the technical ability to perform a rigorous simulation of aircraft impact and ensuing fires is a recent development, and that the technical capability for such analysis would have been quite limited in the 1960s. In their final report on the collapses, the NIST stated that they could find no documentation that examined the impact of a high-speed jet nor that of a large-scale fire fueled by aviation fuel. The investigation team integrated their metallurgy analysis, experimental results and computer simulation with video and photographs of the destruction and eyewitness accounts, to form their understanding for how the buildings collapsed. They came to two conclusions. A conventional fire should not have caused the collapse of the 110-story skyscrapers in the absence of structural and fireproofing insulation damage. The towers would likely not have collapsed if not for the impact and damage that the aircraft caused to the fireproofing insulation. The most probable collapse sequence was similar between the South Tower and North Tower, but they were not identical. However, they both involved all major structural systems of the building design: the core columns, the exterior columns and the building floors. First, the floors that lost fireproofing insulation due to debris impact began to sag, as a result of the high temperature of the fire. The sagging floors pulled inward on the walls. The exterior walls began to bow inward under the combined forces of the sagging floors, the fire, and the severed core columns from aircraft impact damage. Finally, the exterior walls buckled, caved in and the buildings collapsed. The stories below provided little resistance to relatively tremendous energy of the falling building, allowing them to fall very quickly. The NIST investigation's conclusions do not support the pancake theory of collapse initiation, in which the collapse is begun by a progressive failure of the flow system. However, pancaking was accepted as the mode of collapse progression. The cleanup was a massive operation coordinated by the City of New York Department of Design and Construction. On September 22, a preliminary cleanup plan was delivered by Controlled Demolition, Inc. CDI, of Phoenix, Maryland. Costing hundreds of millions of dollars, it involved round-the-clock operations with many contractors and subcontractors. In the US, many activities of foreigners or American citizens, which, prior to 9/11, would be viewed innocently, or as just eccentric, are now viewed with suspicion, especially in regards to the behavior of anyone who looks Arab, in terms of clothing or skin color. 6 Muslim imams were removed from a United States airliner when they prayed before the flight and showed suspicious behavior. Various government agencies and police forces in the United States have asked people to watch people around them and report unusual behavior, and signs posted in all public places request citizens to report anything out of the ordinary. The collapse of the World Trade Center produced enormous clouds of dust that covered Manhattan for days. On September 18, 2001, the United States Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, assured the public that the air in Manhattan was safe to breathe. In 2003, the EPA's Inspector General found that the agency did not at that time have sufficient data to make such a statement. Dust from the collapse seriously reduced air quality and is likely the cause of many respiratory illnesses in Lower Manhattan. Asbestosis is such an illness, and asbestos would have been present in the dust. Significant long-term medical and psychological effects have been found among first responders, including elevated levels of asthma, sinusitis, gastroesophageal reflux disease and post-traumatic stress disorder. Health effects also extended to residents, students, and office workers of Lower Manhattan and nearby Chinatown. Several deaths have been linked to the toxic dust, and the victims' names will be included in the World Trade Center Memorial. More than 18,000 people have suffered from illnesses from the dust. That's all for today, friends. Hope you have found this video useful and informative. For more videos, kindly subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to receive latest updates. Thank you.